Okay, we are going to have an example here, maybe two examples if I can find the other one that I like, um, of how to solve quadratic equations by factoring. Now, the first thing that you should remember is that we need to get this set equal to 0. So right now I have m squared plus 5m is equal to negative 4. In order to set it equal to 4, I need to move, equal to 0, I need to move this negative 4 over to the left side of the equation. And I do that by making a 0 pair. So negative 4, I'm going to add 4 here. And to keep things balanced, I have to add 4 to this side over here. Now the tricky part here is there's no number on this left-hand side, so this just gets tacked on to the end. My new trinomial is going to be m squared plus 5m plus 4 is equal to 0. Now, I have something that I'm able to work with. The factors are pretty apparent to me, but remember, if you're ever in doubt on how to get the factors, you're able to use your box. We put our first term of the trinomial in the top left, so we go m squared here. We put our last term in the bottom right, we have 4. Then we take the coefficient of a and multiply it times c. That gives me 4. And I'm going to look at the factors of 4 that add up to be 5m. Now remember, these two boxes right here have to add up to equal 5m. So when I'm multiplying to get 4, I have 1 and 4, I have negative 1 and negative 4, I have 2 and 2, I also have negative 2 and negative 2. Now, the factors that work to add up to be 5 are 1 and 4. So I'm going to put a 1m here and a 4m here. Remember, you are able to choose where these variables go. I just chose the 1m up here and the 4m down here. Now we're looking for our greatest common factors. The only common factor between 1m and 4 is 1. So it's going to be positive because there's no negative here. Then the only common factor between m squared and 4m is an m. Same here. The only greatest common factor is an m. The only greatest common factor here is a 4. So I'm going to rewrite this polynomial as m plus 1 times m minus 4, I'm sorry, plus 4 is equal to 0. Now, to get these individually, to get the answers for m, because I'm going to have two solutions here, I have to take each factor and set it equal to 0. So m plus 1 is equal to 0. To get m by itself, I need to make a 0 pair. The opposite of 1 is negative 1. So I'm going to add a negative to 1 to both sides, and I end up with m is equal to negative 1. Then I have m plus 4 is equal to 0. To get the m by itself, I have to make a 0 pair. The opposite of 4 is negative 4. I end up with m equals negative 4. Remember, I can always check that in my calculator. That's always an option for me. Wish I wouldn't have done that. But anyways, I had x squared plus 5x, and it was set equal to negative 4. I zoom in, that way I can see my answers better. I have a negative 1 there, I have a negative 4 there. That was the solutions that I came up with. So I know that I did this correctly. Okay, going back, let's see, can we find another one? go ahead and do this one real quick. I have 4c squared plus 6 is equal to 25c. I turn on my pen. Now, this one is tricky because normally it has the number on the right side, but I still need to get this equal to 0. So I need to make a 0 pair. I'm going to do that by adding a negative 25c to both sides. Now, there is no like terms on the left side, so this is going to become 4c squared minus 25c plus 6 is equal to 0. I need to factor this out, so I'm setting up my box. I have 4c squared here. These two boxes here need to add up to equal negative 25c. And in the last one, I have 6. So I'm going to multiply these together to see what I can get. 4 times 6 is 24, and I'm going to look at the factors of 24. Now, there's something that's already jumping out to me. I'm not going to start with 1. I know I'm making negative 25c. So I actually am going to start with 1. Don't know what I was thinking there. I have 1 and 24, but I also have negative 1 and negative 24. I could keep going. I could do 2 and 12, negative 2 and 12, and negative 12. But these factors add up to be negative 25. So I put negative 1c here, negative 24c here. That was really sloppy, but you know what it is. And I'm going to go ahead and find the greatest common factors. There's no greatest common factor between these besides 1. The closest box is negative, so this is negative 1. The greatest common factor between 4c squared and negative 24c is 4c. The closest box is positive, so this is positive. The greatest common factor between 4c squared and negative 1c, that is 1c, or just c. And then the greatest common factor between 24c and 6 is negative 6, because the closest box is 6. So this is going to be negative 6. So I rewrite this trinomial as its factors. I have 4c minus 1 times c minus 6 equals 0. In order to solve for c, I take each one individually and set it equal to 0. I have to move this 1 over. I create a 0 pair. That gives me 4c is equal to 1. Now, to get rid of this 4, I'm multiplying on this side, so I need to divide on both sides. It's going to cancel on this left side, and c is equal to 1/4. Then I have c minus 6 is equal to 0. To get this over to the other side, I create a 0 pair. The opposite of negative 6 is plus 6. I have to do it to both sides. C will be equal to 6. So my two answers are 6 and 1/4. Once again, we are able to check this by typing it into the calculator. So I had 4x squared plus 6. And then I had 25x, right? So 25x. I look where they cross. I see 0.25, which I know is 1/4. And then it's going to cross again up here. And I have 6, which was my two answers. I'm good to go. I hope you guys have a good spring break. Work hard. Goodbye.